Greetings and welcome to episode 59 of the Lot Carey Women in Service Everywhere Digital Couch. My name is Doriel Inez Larrier, your host. Welcome. Happy New Year. I'm so glad to be with you today. On behalf of our leadership, which is the Executive Secretary, Treasurer, Reverend Emmett Dunn, our President, Dr. Jesse Williams, our first Vice President, Dr. James Victor, our second Vice President, Dr. Robert Scott, and the Women in Service Everywhere leadership, Reverend Dr. Brenda McBurrow, President, Sister Lynette Richardson, First Vice President, Minister Brenda Troy, Second Vice President, and our team leaders for the Men on Mission, Brother Charles Monterio, and for the Youth Department, Minister Stephen Edmonds. I welcome you all. Welcome to a new year. We've begun the 2026 year on the first Thursday of the month. So welcome. This is Thursdays in Black. And so we as ecumenicals across the world will stand in solidarity for the purpose of reducing and eradicating gender-based violence. So that's why we are dressed in our Black, ladies and our pearls, and the brothers who love us, you're dressed in Black as well. And we thank you. Today's episode is extremely, extremely amazing. First, we are, of course, still celebrating our 125 years of service to the organization, to the Lot Carey organization. And so we do that in a few ways. We do pray that you are able to share this with all of those who protocol is established would want to see this and needs to see this. Today, we're going to actually be celebrating our work by doing something a little different. We don't have a live session today. We actually have pre-recorded episodes or pre-recorded conversations with members of the Tidewater area, Those of you who know, there are a number of churches within the geographical Tidewater area of Virginia and its surrounding areas where a number of churches participate, and we thought it would be amazing to have conversations or to at least hear from members of the Tidewater area. And so this was definitely a feat. And so you're going to see some of that work today. And let's just pray that everything works well. So we've gathered with a number of women, and thank you so much to Sister Lynette Richardson and the media team of her church, who was so vital in this work of getting all of these ladies together. And so without any further pontification, I'm going to share with you some of the conversations on the service of the Women in Service Everywhere from members of the Tidewater area, and answering a few questions that help us to chronicle and record and document the legacy that is within this organization. So first, we'll have a welcome from our first Vice President, and that is Sister Lynette Richardson, and she'll guide us through this conversation for this evening. If you would, please drop in the comments where you are seeing this from, because it's very important. Please shout out your name. That would be great, so I can actually say greetings to you and your city and state and your church, if you would. I appreciate you very much. Let's hear from our first Vice President, and that is Sister Lynette Richardson.
Women in Service Everywhere, and my church, Little Grove Baptist Church, located 6320 Old Town Point Road in Suffolk, Virginia, is a participating church of the Tidewater Baptist Missionary and Education Convention. My grandmother, Amanda Bradley Mason, introduced me to Lot Carey and to missions and to Tidewater. Can you believe that? Many, many years ago, when I was a young child, Dr. Wendell Somerville, who was then the Executive Secretary Treasurer of Lot Carey Foreign Missions, would visit the Tidewater area. So it was at that time that I was introduced to him, to Lot Carey, but more important, to local missions. As of today, currently, the Missionary Society at Third Baptist Church in Portsmouth is named after my grandmother, Amanda B. Mason. It is the A.B. Mason Missionary Society. So, with that said, I am super excited to always be where Tidewater is and where Lot Carey is.
And now I'm pleased to present to you some of the other ladies who literally and figuratively have been doing the work of missions in their own way and shape and form for the Tidewater area, but greater for the Lot Carey Baptist Foreign Mission Convention in general.
With you all. I'd like to tell you about what I remember about first learning about Lot Carey. I learned that I could make a difference even without going out of the country. Lot Carey brought our missions partners to us. Before then, I didn't know exactly what Lot Carey did. They come back, they share their stories, they let us know how the resources that we're sending, the help that we're sending, how it makes a difference. And I remember that being very impactful for me because I had never been on a mission. I always thought I was too timid, I didn't have enough time, I didn't have enough resources. But when Lot Carey partners came to us, they talked to us, they shared with us, I found that I could make a difference. That really mattered to me. So really, when I think about what motivates me most, it's because I haven't left the country on mission work. I've left the country with work, I've left the country for vacations, but I had never left the country for missions work. And I thought, well, if I'm not going to go, I'm going to partner with those who are going. I'm going to send my time, my prayers. I'm going to send resources to help make a difference because I can make a difference in my generation. That's motivated me even when times financially were a little tough. I still realized through the teachings at Lot Carey that I was so richer than 85% of the world. And Lot Carey serves in some of our most underserved communities. And so what was maybe the cost of a cup of coffee for me could maybe make the difference between a family eating. And so for me, that made the difference. Because Lot Carey goes, they share the resources, they share the prayers, they share Jesus. And that makes a difference. When you put feet to your faith, if you can't go, at least support those who are going. So the last thing I'd like to leave for the young ladies who are thinking about serving, you can make a difference in your generation. You can do it by going. You can go with Lot Carey on short-term missions. You can send your dollars. You can send your prayers. You can send your support. And when you go to events that Lot Carey puts on, get the information that you can. Bring it back to your churches, the areas where you serve. Share that information and then get busy. Lot Carey will give you everything that you need to make a difference for the kingdom. You just have to be willing to go. Let this be your legacy. Not a bunch of statues, not a bunch of plaques. Only what we do for the kingdom will truly last. Let your legacy be what you do for the kingdom through through Lot Carey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Deborah McDuffie. That was, let me put this back up. Thank you, First Vice President Lynette Richardson, for sharing that. That was missionary Deborah McDuffie. One thing that she said, I'm not sure if you heard it very clearly, that she said she was putting feet to her faith. She said that she was not a person who thought that she was um, could go to the mission field, but she did recognize that she was traveling across to other countries for work and for vacation, but she didn't necessarily consider it for missions. And she also said that maybe she felt a little timid. Well, I've said in past streams that some people may travel for different reasons, but consider in the future traveling for missions. And you could definitely have fun, definitely learn about the places that you're going to and the people, but the actual connection that you have to the land and to the people who live there when you do it from a mission perspective is definitely one to invest in the future. Another thing that she said is that if you feel like you want to make a difference, you can go. But if you're not concerned, if you're not able, let's say, to have all of the means to go, you could send. And one thing she reminded us of, a cup of coffee for us, or tea for those who don't drink coffee, could actually be a meal for someone who needs it. Um, you could pray, you can share the information with your church, with your friends and family, and you could also listen to the concerns. And as you are able to, join in on the issues and the missions that are needed for that country. So let us now hear from another sister.
Speak this evening to you about Lot Carey. I see there are three questions that you have asked. In looking at them, question number one, the beginning, is what do you remember about when you first learned about Lot Carey and global missions and why it mattered to you to be involved? Thinking about this, I think of my daughter, Angel. She was a junior missionary and she became a member of the Lot Carey mission team through the missionaries at the church. And when I allowed her to go, the first time she went, I think two times after that, but it was her excitement about going and meeting different people. And she just came back and she told me about, all the people that she met and from different parts of the states and everything and what they did and how they fixed food. Just the whole, she was just really, really excited about it. And the whole thing was in helping others. I mean, she brought back some funny stories too about, passing out food and, some of the responses that she got, but she truly, truly enjoyed it. So that was my introduction to Lot Carey, was through her and listening to her stories when she came back from Lot Carey. And she, like I said, she won a couple of years. So that was really, really good. And then for me, the second question was the motivation, was what moved you to give support or pray for mission work in Africa and other countries
Greetings. I'm also going to put that back up in the rotation to see if we can get a clearer presentation. I am going to go on to another video that we have, and we will try Sister Jerry Norman back in a moment. Thank you so much for your patience and understanding. Let us hear from Sister Brenda Lawrence.
Involvement, Tidewater's involvement with lottcarey. Also, just Tidewater, period, because it was through my home church, Noble Street Baptist Church, that I was introduced to lottcarey. I was introduced to missions. I was introduced to state missions and international missions. We had a youth sponsor, our missionary youth sponsor. It wasn't just one, it was several of them. And one of them was Mr. Lawrence Chambers, who later became one of the presidents of the men's ministry of lottcarey. But they poured into us about missions. They taught us. They carried us places. They had us learning scriptures, the forward steps, so that we would be able to one day share the gospel when we met someone who needed to know the word. It is through Tidewater that I had the opportunity to go to lottcarey. I was the youth president of lottcarey, and the youth president of Tidewater Youth Missionaries. And it was then
Greetings. As it so happens, during moments like this, there might be little glitches, but we will get them straightened out. And if perchance this happens again with the next, what I will do is I will put up these individual, very, very content, like beautifully designed conversations and answers to questions and little conversations with these ladies in separate streams. That's what I'll do. I do want to make sure that we get to Sister Flora Moore, who is, everyone is a highlight of this conversation, but Sister Flora Moore is our most sage, wise elder of this group. And so let's pray that everyone needs to pray with me here, that we can hear her entire conversation.
So we're going to start with former President Sister Flora Kent Moore, followed by Sister Brenda Lawrence, followed by Sister Marie Chavis.
You want me to start? Good afternoon, sisters. Something you need to know about Tidewater. Tidewater began in 1911. The first president was Mrs. Hughes. She was the first name was the Women's Mission Union. They started out as the minister's wives. It was only minister's wives that was in Tidewater. But as time went on and the missionaries, they started the missionary circle, and they began to invite missionaries president from all over Tidewater, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Newport News, Hampton, and Eastern Shore. That as large as we were then when they first began. And when they first began, they
We're going to do a part two. We're going to do a part two.
started out as a small group, but they was committed to putting on things that the women's could do. And when the women's went to lottcarey or any convention, they would have a part of in there because they was the women's missionary of Tidewater and part of Baptist Journal and lottcarey. The first youth president was a man. He was Mr. I don't know his name. Anyway, he was a man that took care of the children part, and then they began to have women's president for the youth. At first, Tidewater, when they first began, they started out with the youth with 5 presidents. It was the president, 4 vice president, which was first vice president, second vice president, third vice president, fourth vice president, and also it was the youth, which was the 5th vice president. You had to come up the line all the way so that you would learn what it meant to be president of Tidewater.
To all who are patiently waiting, I do appreciate you. We are working with the digital devices that we have to make this go well. Your patience is understandable. Thank Once again, thank you for your patience. I'm going to see how much of the next video we can get done. The person that you were listening to just now was Sister Flora Moore, who again is this beautiful sage woman, has made 100 in the past few months. And we were able to get almost a good 10 minutes of the history. You see her running down the legacy. How amazing that she can actually remember all of the presidents just about in order of the Tidewater, I guess, pathway. So I will do what I can to make sure we can hear the rest of her message. I'll try one more time, and then if that does not work, I'll upload it separately, and we'll also hear from Sister Marie Chavis if the first one does not work. Thank you again. Prayers are needed here. Thank you.
After that, they got to the place that they would go. We had over 40 some churches in Tidewater. They got so they would go from one church to another, each city, and what they did, they had people in Tidewater. They had a nursery that they supported in Tidewater. In Portsmouth. Then they supported the NACP. They supported Baptist Young and lottcarey. Wherever lottcarey met, that you can bet that Tidewater was there with them. Whenever Baptist Young met, they was there. And not only that, we supported our youth to send them to Eagle Irie and to what was the name of it's Charlotte, up with lottcarey. Every year we would send at least 10 or 15 children up there. And then we would go and to the convention, and we would bring back the things that need to be brought back. We also, in Tidewater, we helped the ministers and with their churches. We had the churches, the missionaries could come to Tidewater, and they could learn how to run their meeting. That was the main thing. They learned how to run a meeting, how to speak, how to do the motions, how to carry motion. We also had a study class where we taught them about what mission was all about, how mission was to be committed. To be a missionary in Tidewater, you need to be permitted. And in Tidewater, each one of our vice presidents has something to do. The first vice president do the memorial service in February. The second vice president take care Baptist General Scholarship Fund and the go for a lifetime pins for Tidewater, for lottcarey. And we also get lifetime pins from lottcarey convention. We have, each church has, we used to try to get a president from each city from time, not one group, but we had presidents from Norfolk, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Suffolk, Eastern Shore, and we had presidents from Northampton and Newport News. And our children was very active. Our children came up with Tidewater. They came up in, and then they began to be presidents. And for the children, we would always, just before school started in August, we would have a picnic for our children. And our children have their meeting, and they have class, they have the Bible study, and they have a what is, they have Bible study and memory verses. That's a lot of. I'm sorry, but I forgot some things. The first thing I forgot was to say,
We're going to get her back in order to hear the last thing that she has to say. Don't worry.
I'm sorry, but I forgot some things. The first thing I forgot was to say that Grove Baptist Church, when I was president, they came all the way over to a prayer breakfast that I had, and they had about 60 members on a bus came over there. The next thing I would like to say about Tidewater is that we have a scholarship luncheon, which was for the missionaries that Sister Magnolia Barnes formed, and it's been going on for over 30 some years. and Mary Hall and Magnolia and we would drive up and down. And the thing of it is, I wanted to say that we thank you all for being there. We also have a scholarship that the Tidewater gives a scholarship every year if all the 5 cities can have a child and they can get a scholarship while they are in college. And this is what I would like to say, that we want, not only do we have that, we have loving incarcerated people. That is something that when people are in jail or get out of jail, Tidewater will go visit them, and they will train them and help them to get back on their feet. That is part of Tidewater's. And each church that's in Tidewater, whatever they need, if they need some teaching, if they need some training, and not only will we teach them about lottcarey foreign mission, but we teach them about Baptist General, where they can get help from each of the convention to help their church grow. And the pastors, people and presidents of lottcarey, they will come to them if they cannot come to them, and will train them. What I love about lottcarey, when first time I went, they told Reverend Somerville said, everybody is somebody. And that's one thing I love about lottcarey, because everybody is somebody, and they all love each other. Thank you.
Is anyone else shedding a tear? Because I definitely am shedding a tear. When I first saw this video sent to me a few days ago, I was just shy of holding a pillow and in a fetal position. This this woman's mind is incredible. First of all, Sister Flora Kentmore, if you are watching, I pray that I can see you face to face and just give you a hug and literally sit at your feet with a notebook in order to take notes. I really hope and pray that those people who are watching today, just now, took some notes. If your missionary society is not set up like this one right here, this is 2026. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, all right, let's prayerfully get to our next our next person, and that is Sister Marie Chavis. All right, pray with me that we don't have to stop, okay? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
On the digital couch. My name is Marie Chavis. I'm a deacon at Third Baptist Church in Portsmouth, Virginia, where my pastor is Reverend Joseph Alfred Fleming. I'm to speak on the training and involvement of the youth. I had to go way back in my mind because things have changed so now that we do things quite differently from what we did many years ago. Third Baptist Church is affiliated with the Tidewater Baptist Missionary and Educational Convention. That is connected with the Baptist General Convention of Virginia. And we also are connected with lottcarey Global Missions. I've had the grand opportunity to work with the youth in each of these organizations. At Third Baptist Church, as a youth missionary, I took part in what was called the forward steps. That's what they called it for girls. The boys were ambassadors for Christ. And in these training sessions, we learned selected Bible verses, and we also learned about the life of Christ. As I grew, I attended college, and in college, I just was all about college. But when I graduated and became an educator, I got involved with the missionaries at Third Baptist as an adult. And my mentor was Deacon Mary Virginia Hall. And she really was about the youth. She worked with the youth ushers, and she encouraged people to work with the youth, the missionaries, the ushers, the choir, just to keep young people involved in church. And I was one of those young people. So around 1996, Mrs. Hall asked me if I would work with the youth with lottcarey. And I told her, I'll think about it. And my son was a youth at that time, and so I said, okay, I'll do it. And I did. So in working with the youth at lottcarey, I was able to travel to Shaw University for the summer youth program that they had for all of the young people from across the country for lottcarey. We dealt with a book that was related to the missions classes that would take place at the annual session when that took place. This particular year, we dealt with a Youth ushers, and she encouraged people to work with the youth, the missionaries, the ushers, the choir, just to keep young people in
To all that are still here, for that which it is worth, this was a mammoth task today. This is the first time this has ever been done, putting all of these videos together at one time and switching between them. I cannot explain why the system is not working as it should be. I do apologize on behalf of Lot Carey, on behalf of Lot Carey Women in Service Everywhere, the leadership. I'm doing my best. I will try one more time with Sister Mary Hall. Sister Marie Chavis. If it does not work, I will end the stream and I will work on uploading them separately so that you can see them. Again, I do apologize. We'll give it one more go. Thank you so much for your understanding.
of those young people. So around 1996, Mrs. Hall asked me if I would work with the youth with Lot Carey. And I told her, I'll think about it. And my son was a youth at that time, and so I said, okay, I'll do it. And I did. So in working with the youth at Lot Carey, I was able to travel to Shaw University for the summer youth program that they had for all of the young people from across the country for Lot Carey. We dealt with a book that was related to the missions classes that would take place at the annual session when that took place. This particular year, we dealt with a book called 6 Dangerous Questions. And I had to prepare activities for the young people so that they would have Bible training and scripture lessons while they were on the campus. And that went on for about 2 years. And then the next year, we were blessed to have another youth coordinator come in by the name of Reverend Brenda Curtin Harewood. And she just turned Shaw University and the youth upside down, because we had our Bible instruction, we had our prayer sessions, we had speakers come in from across the country to talk to young people about giving their life to Christ and working for Christ. But in the meantime, there was still a lot of time to have on the campus. So Dr. Harewood made arrangements for the young people to go out in the gleaning fields. And they had competitions on who could pick the most cantaloupes, who could pick the most watermelons or potatoes or whatever the crop was that particular summer. They had competitions among the young people to fill these trailers with various produce that would help the communities in the surrounding North Carolina areas. And the young people loved that. And they also had time to fellowship and go into the communities and tell young people about Christ. They wanted to play basketball. A lot of people in the communities wanted to play basketball. So, but after we had an opportunity to share Christ with those young people, they played basketball, and they loved that. Being a part of Lott Carey's youth was a world changer for me.
Greetings to all. Once again, I do apologize for the interruption in the videos playing to it's through their entirety. What I will work on is uploading these as separate videos. There are 6 of them. 3 of them are about 9 to 10 minutes long, and the other 3 are under 4 minutes. I will actually elect to end here because it's a bit interruptive. And once again, I do apologize for that. Those of you who have stayed until this time, I really, really do appreciate it. This is not necessarily an indication of how the rest of the year, thank you very much, will go. But as we are improving and switching up how we're doing our sessions, we're working through some things. So once again, I do apologize. Thank you very much for understanding. Again, this was a new feat to try to work through. Let me at least just give me one more moment. Who knows? Let's see.
Every summer, and it was wonderful to know that Christ could really give you a youthful spirit in your old age. And the young people loved it. Ms. Hall and all of the workers who were dealing with the young people at that time were all young at heart. And our goal was to train these young people so that they would have an everlasting love for Jesus Christ and that they would want to spread the gospel to them. Various scriptures were learned, and we always knew John 3:16. But when Dr. David Emmanuel Goatley wrote a book, and he emphasized the fact that that is the basis of our Christian walk, knowing John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And we emphasize this with the children. Every young person on that campus knew that verse, and every young person knew that if you believed and lived that, you could give your life to Christ and you could tell others the good news. That is the good news. That is the foundation. And so we would just continue to train young people. When I got back home, our church was very active in child evangelism. We trained children in all of the principles of child evangelism. And that was very significant because they had pods for the very young people to the high school students. And all of the students worked with those scriptures and made them a part of their life. In the Tidewater missionaries, as a youth advisor, we did the same thing that we did when we went to Shaw's University and when we worked with the young people at Eagle Ivory. Each one of those experiences invited ministers in to tell children about the love of Jesus Christ and how they could spread that love. And we worked on that. And many young people gave their life to Christ, and they continued as young adults to work with young people and to spread the good news. So it's just been a wonderful experience knowing Christ, sharing the love of Christ, and being a part of a larger body with the Tidewater missionaries, the Baptist General Convention, and the lottcarey missional organization. So training the young people basically dealt with learning scriptures, talking about life situations, putting life situations in the Bible, bringing them out, living them from day to day. The love of Christ is an everlasting love, and we wanted to share this with our young people, and we did. We just thank God for Dr. Mary Agnes Jordan, who was one of my youth advisors at Third Baptist. Deacon Mary Hall, who encouraged me to continue to work with young people. Reverend Brenda Curtin Harewood, who encouraged us all to spread the love of Jesus. And while working with the youth at lottcarey one summer, I was blessed to be on a vacation Bible school team that went to Guyana, the home of Reverend Brenda Curtin Harewood and her mother's churches there. And we worked with the young people on the Somerville camp. And they came for a week, and we had vacation Bible school lessons, and we learned about the people of Guyana. That was a very informative and uplifting experience for me. And the young people were eager to know about the Lord, to know Bible verses. And one of the songs that they sang there was "To the Work." And that's what we have to remember. We have to be about God's work each and every day. So I'm just thankful that I have had an opportunity to meet a number of people from a number of places that love the Lord and were not ashamed of the gospel, but they were eager and willing to share the word. And that's all I have to say about.
Thank you to those who have stayed up until this time. I am going to try to just play the last one, which is about 2 or 3 minutes. Let me just review. We had We just heard from Sister Marie Chavis, whose focus was the youth missionary leadership training, and of course, paying homage to the Deacon Mary Hall and Reverend Brenda Curtin Harewood of Guyana and the Guyana Baptist Convention. I believe, if I'm correct, if I'm not correct, please correct me in the comments. We heard from Sister Flora Moore, who talked about the amazing recollection of the history of the organization. We heard in part, from Sister Brenda Lawrence and Sister Debbie, who spoke about not making a specific trip out of the country, but being able to support the work of Lot Carey by putting feet to the faith through through sending, through praying, sharing, listening, but making an intentional decision that if she can travel for work and for vacations, that other people can definitely travel for the purpose of missions. So we're going to just take a look at the last person, which is Sister Jerry.
Her and listening to her stories when she came back from Lot Carey. And she, like I said, she won a couple of years. So that was really, really good. Team through the missionaries at the church. And when I allowed her to go the first time, she went, I think 2 times after that. But it was her excitement about going and meeting different people. And she just came back and she told me about, all the people that she met and from different parts of the states and everything and what they did and how they fixed food. Just she was just really, really excited about it. And the whole thing was in helping others. I mean, she brought back some funny stories too about, passing out food and, some of the responses that she got, but she truly, truly enjoyed it. So that was my introduction to Lot Carey, was through her and listening to her stories when she came back from Lot Carey. And she, like I said, she won a couple of years. So that was really, really good. And then for me, the second question was the motivation, was what moved you to give support or pray for mission work in Africa and other countries, even when resources were limited. Looking at this question, I look at myself, this year, 2025, was my first time ever going to Lot Carey, and the experience from going to Lot Carey was mind blowing to me. To sit, to listen, to learn, and be a part of people from all over the world, and just why we were there and what Lot Carey is really about the helping and about getting involved and learning how other people in other countries and how they're living, and children, and the deprivation that they, what they were, deprived of, and us globally helping them to learn and to grow, and just being a part of it. It was just awesome. It really was mind blowing to me. And for that reason, I am dedicated now truly for myself to be a part of La Carey and the missions, and the prayer, and the praying and the giving, and the supporting. It's very, very important to me now, because now I see for myself the inside of what La Carey is all about. So I thank you so much for this opportunity to share my experience and my daughter's experience, and how I became involved in La Carey and what it is all about. And the legacy, which is the third question, the legacy. I'm going to be a part of the legacy. I'm going to be a part of the legacy of La Carey, as far as giving, as far as being involved in supporting everything that Lord Carey gives the schools. It's just, I'm privileged and I'm honored to be a part of the legacy of Lord Carey. So I thank you so much, and Happy holidays and Happy New Year.
To all, if you have not heard the word about what Lock Carey is and has been for more than 125 years, at least you saw and heard from these 5 amazing women. Sister Flora Moore, former president of the Tidewater area. Sister Lynette Richardson, who is our first vice president, who's also a part of the Tidewater Area Association. Sister Marie Chavis, who is a former youth worker. Sister Brenda Lawrence also worked with the youth. Sister Jerry and Sister Debbie. We thank you so much for your dedication to the work, to raising new missionaries, to sharing and encouraging other people to, if they can go, but if they are not able to go, to still do some of the work in praying and in sending and in raising awareness that we are them. It is not them over there. We're just a few generations of the transit moment of them becoming us over here, and how our life is based on the growth and the development, and yes, the movement of people from one land to another. And so in that light, I want to just pray you well, pray that you have a great new year. And as we continue to do this work, of course, in the next few weeks, we will be talking about our mid-year session that'll be happening. I'll get the information and share it with you. Of course, we'll have our 31 days of prayer, which will come up very soon in the next month, actually. And as well as, of course, preparing for our spring work, our spring session and our spring work, and getting to the rest of this year. So again, thank you so much for your peace and your patience during tonight's episode during tonight's broadcast. And I'll do what I can in order to put the completed episodes or shorter versions up in the next few days. God bless you and good night for now.